in Ice. This is a story. This is a TV show me and my friend always wanted to make, but we never could because we're still young. I mean, we also gave up on it because I really want to do this. This is fun. I'd love to be my own voice actor for my own character, making the show with my friend. Isaiah will not be a part of this until he eventually gets in. So I'm going to be explaining the story. So Isaiah will be having fire. I will be having ice. Christian's gonna have spiky black hair with the tint of thing. Whatever it's called. With a tint of blue hair. With Isaiah having blonde hair and a tint of red hair. Their parents having their different powers. The father, I'm gonna call it Hiyashi, has the fire power, while their mom, I'm gonna call her Remy, has ice powers. And they have an annoying bratty sister named Akane, who has fire and ice. Even though she's still weak, but she's terrible with her powers. She pretends like she's good, acts bratty, always blames them, and then gets them beat up for no reason, until finally the day of the destruction. So, one day while they are 12 years old, they're about 16. Well, actually, they're 12. Christian and Isaiah are playing along, having a fun day, until Akane shows up saying, "Hey losers, I'm gonna go tell Dad you beat me up again." He says, "No you won't, sweetie, because you're going to be kicked off this planet. Because we've heard of all you did. You hurt our other citizens on our planet. On this planet. We know what you've done. I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry, sweetie, but you can no longer be here. You were never..." Okay, look, she never existed. Let's just say that. Well, Christian and Isaiah are just playing. Out of nowhere, evil space robots would come and attack the planet. Christian says, "Shoot!" Isaiah, what are we gonna do? Isaiah says, "Run back home." Christian creating an ice path thingy that he slides on, going, and Isaiah blasts forward with fire, going, "Ah!" And Christian is sliding, going, and then they make it home. Their mom, Remy, says, "Guys, you need to get out of here. We have to fight our fight." Christian says, "I'm not leaving you guys here." He says, "Go! We'll get a spaceship ready for you guys to go." Christian says, "Fine," and gets in the and then they jump in the spaceship and get in. It's a small rocket ship that they can get in. Christian gets in, and so does Isaiah. He pulls him in and says, "We gotta go." He starts up the rocket ship and shoots it forward. He says, "Isaiah, cover me." Isaiah says, "Right." He shoots an ice beam, going, "Ah!" freezing a couple of robots, while Isaiah burns them. But then they get hit. Christian says, "Dang it, we got hit by a blast. We're going down." He says, "Isaiah, quickly, cover me. I need to go fix the system." He says, "Right." And shooting fire blasts at him, going boom, 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 boom. Christian is tweaking up the system to make it go faster. He goes, "Done." Then he says, "Maximum overdrive." Then it blasts them to Earth. They go. One day, a kid named Adrian and his best friend Akane. Okay, look, I'm taking too much names. One day, a boy named Alex and his friend Ray, REI actually, are right about leaving school. But out of nowhere, two figures come and crash straight into the chemical site, going, and Alex and Ray are both hit by it. And then they feel weird. They start to glow. Ray glows blue, like a dark blue. Well, actually, she glows yellow, while Alex glows blue, like a blue color. He says, what the? Christian says, damn it, Isaiah, you alright? He says, yep. And they both get up. He says, we crashed into some chemicals. He says, wait, they're glowing. He says, hey guys, your guys are glowing. They say, what the? And then they look at each other. And they go, oh my god, we're glowing. Then 10 attack robots come. Christian says, shoot, jump. They jump out of the way. But then Remy puts out her hand. She says, I know how to fight. And then goes to palm striking. But then out of nowhere, lightning comes out of her hand and shocks the robot, going. She goes, what the? And then sees, why the heck is this working? Christian says, no time. Then backflips and creates ice spikes, which come up and stab and destroy a robot. He says, Isaiah! He goes, right! Then climbs the top of his ice spikes and creates a fire orb, throwing it, going, yeah! And it hits them with full force. Christian says, ice beam! Boom! He says, then he jumps in the air and puts his hand out. He puts his hand out and then water comes out of it. High-pressured water cuts 2 robots in half. Christian says, cool, you guys have powers! They say, yeah! Christian jumps up in the air going, ah! And defeats another one. Then Christian says, ah! And throws an ice orb in the sky, which then makes it snow, which makes his ice much more efficient. He says, ice of the night! Respond to my heart! Blizzard! Ultimate move! Blizzard! Ah! Shooting a blizzard, defeating all the robots, and then 10 more come, and Isaiah says, Inferno Overdrive! Ah! And shoots a blast out at them that incinerates them all. Christian says, we did it, Isaiah. Then they both bump fists and they say, hands in the middle, guys. He says, what? But before they do, he says, wait a minute, what's your guys' names? So he says, my name is Alex. Says, my name is Alex. Nice to meet you. And Ray says, of course, my name is Ray. Christian says, nice to meet you guys. I'm Christian. This is Isaiah. We are siblings in it, and we have the same hair. She says, no, you don't. He says, I know, it's part of a song. He says, whatever. He says, why do I sell... Christian says, I smell a ship. He goes, what do you mean? He says, I smell a ship between you two. He says, did you see the S word? He says, no, ship. I said shit, my guy. Ship. Ray X Alex. Then they start to blush. He says, wait a minute. We're siblings. He goes, excuse me, what? You don't even look like siblings. Then his vision blurs. And then it comes back and says, oh, you guys do look like siblings. Never mind. Sorry about that. Well, we're stuck here. He says, well, there's nothing we can really do. Christian says, also, what country are we in? Like, where even are we? Like, we don't even know where we are. We just fell from space. He says, you're on Earth, and you're in Tokyo. Christian says, excuse me, what? All I remember is me fixing a robot, our jet system, while Isaiah was holding me off, and then we just blasted forward. Then crashed. He says, well, you can come to our school. Oh, look, pretend like they're 14, actually. They're 14. Christian says, ba-ba-dum-ba-dum. He says, we also had a sister, and she was always the favorite of the group. And she was a favorite because she had fire and ice, but yeah, we're still stronger than her. And she's so egoistic, and she has mine and Isaiah's powers. Yet when we have to do a sparring match, and me and Isaiah land a hit, and if I land a hit on her, she starts to cry and say he punched me so hard. Then when our father looks away, I hit her again with a punch in our sparring matches. Then she cries, saying that I beat the crap out of her, then stabbed her. All the members trying to tell him, but he doesn't believe them or us. And then we get beat up by her fanboys, which are so annoying. He says, do you guys have any other extra abilities? Christian says, well, our father had super speed and our mother had super strength also. So and our abilities were swapped. I have super speed. Isaiah has super strength. He can lift up easily. I can just move around so much faster. Then they head in. Christian says, "Hey, bring my fuss." He says, "So what do you guys do here?" She says, "Well, we only have 5 months left of school, so we really don't do that much. We're in the 8th grade. Tons of bullies." Christian says, he says, "What high school are you guys going to?" Christian says, "What kind of high schools are here? We're from outer space, remember?" Isaiah says, "Yeah, we're pretty much from outer space." Then he says, "What schools are here?" She says, "Well, pretty much there's pretty much basically Tokyo High. That's basically the best school. Shiratori is the next one. Sage is the next. But you really just want to go to Tokyo High." Christian says, "Look, all I want is revenge for whoever was the leader of destroying our planet. He says, "Are you guys anything special since you are from outer space?" Christian says, We are princes, technically. Our father is a king, and our mother is a queen. That's because our two nations collided and had a great peace treaty." He says, "Wait a minute, what color eyes do we have?" Oh yeah, Christian's got has black eyes, while Isaiah has brown eyes. Has blue eyes, actually, has hazel eyes. He says, "Why do you have black eyes?" He says, "Look, I don't know, it's just my pitch black color of my eyes." So, well, welcome in. She announces the teacher, Mrs. Hazumi. I'm gonna call her Hatsume. Christian says, "Oh, this class is boring," when they get in. And he goes to fall asleep. He's about to fall asleep, but then he realizes he's standing up, and he can't stand up falling asleep on Earth because, well, it's not really normal. So then they introduce themselves. He says, "Hi, I'm Isaiah." One of the bullies, Joshua, says, "Hey, nerd, why do you got that? Why you nerds have those outfits on?" Person says, "No need to know. No need for you to know, dum-dum." He says, "What did you say? I'll kill you." Person says, "I'd like to see you try." Then he grabs him by the shirt. He says, "Just get the fuck out of my way before I rock your up." Then Isaiah just punches him in the face, which sends him flying back. Person says, "Aw, schnizzles, Isaiah, you used it! You used it! Isaiah, great job, we exposed ourselves. Now we're gonna be main damn targets for experiments." He says, "Wait a minute, I didn't expose anything." He goes, "Ah, schnizzles." And schnizzles is my own word. So I'm probably gonna use that in the show. Ah, schnizzles. So, after easily pushing the bully, Christian says, "Well, we better not use our powers or we're gonna be stolen for DNA." So, on the last day of that school, on the final day on graduation, the bully tells the doctors and the society that there are 4 people with powers here, and that we should take them so then the DNA should be split across society. Initially, they call the principal's office and they see doctors with needles. Christian instantly freezes them, saying, You're not taking our blood, and that's all." Isaiah burns them, killing them. He says, "You're not taking us." The principal says, "Attack!" They all disappear. With Christian's super speed, he drags them out, going, Phew. He says, "Quickly, we gotta go." Then Christian jumps up in the air, going, "Quickly, Isaiah." Christian skates on it like ice. He says, "Guys, you aren't fast enough. Isaiah, get ready." He goes, "Right. Alex." Isaiah says, "Get on my back, Alex." He goes, "This is weird, but I don't care." Then he jumps. And then he's basically giving a piggyback ride. And then Isaiah puts his hands out, going, blah, blasting forward with his fire. Christian says, "Come on, Ray." Ray jumps on his back, and he says, "Let's go." And then slides, going, shoo. Then he goes, did a fool, hey? And then he's sliding across the city so quickly, going. But then out of nowhere, Christian launched by some pink-haired girl. He goes, and there's no such thing, saying, what the hell? Then Isaiah is punched as well, out of nowhere. He goes, what the? And then loses his balance, then falls. He says, who the hell was that? And how did they launch me so far? Even if this is a TV show, they can't launch me that far. Breaking the fourth wall alert. Then he looks down and sees a pink-haired girl named, I'm gonna call her Emma. He says, then he slides down and says, hey, what the hell? Why did you punch me in the face? She says, get him. Then he slides out of the way going, then he freezes her with an ice cream. Then they say, Princess Emma! Then she breaks down and says, that little rat! Because she has super strength and super power. And catches up to him going, Christian goes, then she goes for a punch, he jumps up in the air going, jeez! And with Isaiah, he's got some dude named Rick chasing after him. Alex and him have to fight. Alex goes, raging wave attack! Then spits water from his mouth. A giant wave of water comes out of him. He goes, ah! And then he says, nice try, kid. Lightning! And electrocutes the water and then pushes it right back. Alex gets shocked by that. He goes, ah! Isaiah jumps up in the air going with a fire orb and hits him with a close range going, ah! And then backflips. Then he jumps. Then he Naruto runs to the left and then shoots a flamethrower at him, going, trying to defeat him. Then Christian jumps up in the air, saying, "How about this, Blizzard?" And then goes to freeze her, but he's already gotten a punch to the nose. He goes, "Jesus Christ! Why are you even attacking us?" She says, "I don't know why." Then stops and says, "Sorry about that. We thought you were like random people. And usually people don't come around this city without a passport. You have to be accepted in to the city." Christian says, "Geez, you have to be accepted into the city, then you have to be accepted into the school?" Damn, this is annoying. Then he says, "Would you like to come along with me?" He says, "Sure." Then he wipes his nose and says, "Let's go." Then they slide there. Then Emma says, Robert, stop! We can stop attacking them now. We know that they have been accepted into the city." He goes, "Okay, I'm sorry, you two." They say, "It's alright." He says, "So, do you guys want to be a team?" They say, "Yeah." He says, "Wait a minute, are we all just here brother and sister?" They all say, "Yep." Christian says, "We have to travel around the world because everyone wants our blood. Because they want their natural superpowers." I mean, wait, does everyone here have superpowers? She says, "Mostly everyone in this country does. And maybe some in other countries too. That's why you're so rare. You see, it's kind of rare to see heroes because they're always wanted for their blood. So they can do experiments on them." Christian says, "Well, we have to get out of here." Then they get out of Tokyo. Christian says, "We have to travel across countries." Christian says, the nerve of some people. They should not be like rude to us. Like we are just as normal as them." Then they instantly leave Tokyo, and then they're on the walk, going on an adventure. So she says, "What is your goal?" Emma says, "Christian, Isaiah, what are your goals for the future?" Christian says, "Probably," they will say, "probably to kill the master." She says, "Who's the master?" He says, "The man who destroyed our planet. And our sister probably still alive, because her father probably said." He says, "Whatever." She says, "You really do hate this sister of yours." Christian says, "Yep." He said, they both say, yep, we hate her. She's annoying. And always gets her way. That's why and our mother liked her less than our father did. Because apparently we were mistakes and she was the perfect one just because she had the mix of their powers. She goes, wow, that's pretty sad. He says, one day I'll get my revenge on her. She's probably the one who caused this planet's destruction and got us off of it. Then Christian grabs a telescope and says, let's just check out some planets and stars. During the night, Christian pulls out a telescope and goes, and says, wait, there's our planet, Isaiah. He says, yeah? He says, our planet's in perfect shape. Those robots are probably just holograms that were attacking our planet, and those explosions were fake. But maybe those other robots were real. He checks and says, and zooms in so much that he can see the people on the planet, and sees Akane Ryuki. Ryuki. I'm gonna call her Akane, actually. He says, that bitch, she's still alive and lovely? And her then he says, I see a gravestone. Christian says, Isaiah, I see a gravestone. She says, then he looks and says, Remy? It says Remy on it. The Ice Princess. The Ice Queen. Christian rages with anger and goes, that bastard, I'm gonna kill him. Well, he says, if it's a Nickelodeon show, then he says, that idiot, that guy, I'm gonna kill him. Isaiah looks at him and says, we're gonna kill him. Then he says, Isaiah, take a look at this. Isaiah looks and says, no way! She's just laughing and dancing at her grave? Oh, we gotta get our revenge. Emma, they're all at it. Christian says, guys, we should build a treehouse. They say, yep. Christian, they build a treehouse. Going. Christian creates a freezer while Isaiah creates a campfire. He says, then they ask questions like, is Isaiah stronger? Isaiah's power stronger? Christian says, no, Isaiah has strong fire. I have super strong ice. I basically have sub-zero ice, which means it literally can't melt unless it's like blue flames, which none of us will unlock. Because I can't, because I don't have fire. And Isaiah says, and I can't unlock it because I don't have ice, because you need fire and ice to mix them until you get blue fire. Then they will go to sleep. The next day, they have a normal morning. Christian's cooking. He goes, rah, rah, rah. Christian says, guys, then he sees rubble. He says, guys, I found some rubble over here. Isaiah walks out and says, wait a minute, that's our spaceship. He says, oh yeah, we can use it, go back to the planet and get our revenge. Christian rebuilds the spaceship with Isaiah, adding new designs to it and more tech to it, so then it'll fly better and also has armory weapon. He says, looks like then out of nowhere a blue and red light come crashing down. A little blue, red, and red light come crashing down. Christian says, wait a minute. He says, Frostwing! Then rushes over and picks up his little dragon, saying, Frostwing, what's up? And pets it on the head. He goes, I missed you. Isaiah says, Molten Wing? Then he picks it up and pets it as well. They say, who are these? He says, these are our pet dragons. We had them at home because they used to keep us comfort. He says, hey, do you think you can go to outer space and deliver a message for us? He goes, "Rah-rah." Then he puts the message in his mouth, and then he flies up, flying all the way to space, and he's back in about 20 minutes. And they wrote a message back saying that we'll be and the message said, we will attack, we're having our final fight. We're having a fight. We'll be coming tomorrow. Be ready. Because we're having a 6-on-6 battle. They gathered the 6 best fire and ice wielders to fight them. Christian says, but then he says, wait a minute, Frostwing, I remember you being much bigger. He touches Frostwing's head, but then he realizes that he's on a shortage of ice since I was gone. Then he creates giant ice and Frostwing eats it, going nah, nah, nah. Then he turns huge. Then Isaiah creates fire, which with that Molten Wing eats. And he turns into a giant, and then he turns big again. He says, there we go, our dragons. He says, you guys are gonna need helmets. We don't. We can breathe in space. They go, okay. Then they prepare, get training. They're training non-stop all day. Going, ah. And with our heroes training, will they defeat him? Will they defeat the evil Akane and her team? Or will they lose? Find out in 2 minutes after the break. Dat Fun 107 is everywhere. Alright, we're gonna take a 2-minute break before I return. Alright, I'm back from the break. Let's get started. So, after our heroes would head up to the skies, they'd go in the spaceship instead so they don't need their space helmets. And they upgraded the spaceship to be a lot bigger. It's like it fits 6 people and their dragons. Watch out, here comes the Dragon Riders. When they're in the sky, when they're in space, Christian says, look out, here comes the Dragon Riders. He says, Isaiah says, so you remember that show? Christian says, yep. Emma says, what are you guys talking about? Christian says, we're talking about an old show that used to come on called The Dragon Rider. And we won a contest for these 2 dragons that are now our most loyal pets. And we probably won, and if it wasn't for Mom, then Akane would have probably got them both. And probably hit them whenever they didn't do what she said. They say, your sister is really bad. Person says, she's younger than us and she is bad. She shouldn't be there. And we're not jealous also. People always think we're jealous of her when we're really not. It's just annoying that she gets away with things that we don't. Like if she literally committed a crime, nothing would happen. But if we accidentally broke a cup, we would get beat to death. We'd almost die. Our mother tried to stop, but she'd get hit in the process. And that's why she's probably dead now. He says, I'm so sorry for you. Christian says, don't be. We're almost gonna get our revenge. When they arrive there, Christian goes, Jimmy, When they arrive, he says, I've been waiting for you. Christian walks out of there going, tearaway. When they walk out, Christian goes, and they walk out. Akane says, I've been waiting for you two brothers. We'll have our final showdown. Ah! Then she creates a ginormous fireball and throws it, and then ice spikes at Christian. Isaiah shoots his own big fireball, which collapses and instantly deflates her and defeats hers, and Christian creates his own tectonic ice spikes, which easily break hers and hit her. He says, Father, help! They're beating me up again! He says, why, you little... Christian punches him in the face, saying, listen, old man, you got the report, right? She can't come crying for your help, because she's got 5 more members to help her out. We're having a fight here, and you don't understand. He says, then he goes, you were always a mistake. Anyways, he says, shut up! And then throws him across the planet, and says, don't come back! She says, if we win, you have to stay here and be our loyal servant. He says, but if you win, you get to leave. Christian says, that doesn't sound like too much of a fair deal. Ray says, yeah, that doesn't at all. We just get to leave? We should get a reward or something for if we defeat you guys. She says, foolish idiots. If you guys win flawlessly, you'll easily get it. You guys will get your stuff back. You'll be able to live in luxury. And we'll leave you alone forever. Christian says, now it's time to go! It's 4 versus 5. It's 4 versus 4. It's Akane. Well, actually, Akane is pretty strong. She's stronger than both of them, but not combined. She's stronger than one of them, but not stronger than both. It's Christian and Isaiah versus Akane. And basically, it's the whole team, which is 4. It's 4 on 5. And they're trying to hold themselves off. Christian says, alright, Isaiah, we'll be taking turns fighting her, alright? He says, you fight her first and I'll go help out the team. He says, yeah! And he's fighting her, but he's losing ground quickly. Because her more advantaged training, because their father only trained her. These two started to go, Ding! Christian was clashing with him, going, ah! Then her boyfriend, Adrian, is also on the team, and it's Christian versus Adrian. And they both are, he's an ice wielder too. Christian creates an ice blade and says, ah! Then rushes out and going, sing, sing, sing. They both clash, with Christian's ice sword breaking. He says, damn it. Then he throws it up in the air and goes and slides under him, trips him, then pulls up his leg and slams him, going, ah! Now how do you like me? Then he says, gee. Then says, ice punch. Then punches him with ice force, knocking him back. He goes, ugh. He says, so it's a battle for the end, huh? Christian says, hell yeah, it is. Then he runs at him, then backflip. Then Christian charges up the final ice punch and goes, Autotron, look at the way that I move. Disrespectful and I'm rude. But then out of nowhere, Ray gets kicked, being knocked out. Then so does Alex. Ray says, damn it, the 2 are out. I guess it's 4 against 5, huh? 4 against 6, huh? He says, let's end this. Adrian! Then they rush at each other. Christian goes, ah! Adrian goes, saying, die, brat! And goes stab him, but Christian jumps above him, going, ah! Then goes and punches right through, killing him. Well, actually doesn't kill him. He goes, Zrrr! She goes, he says, take that, you stupid son of a bitch. Then Isaiah would finally be defeated by Akane. Christian catch Isaiah saying, I got you, bro. He says, we have to defeat them, then we'll fight Akane. But then they see the last 3 of that team being defeated. And he says, come on, guys, we can take her. They all rush at her, going, ah! But she's easily overpowering them all. Christian goes, dang it. And Isaiah gets kicked in the face. He goes, Then Emma and Robert get defeated. Christian says, damn it! Dang it, why do they have to be defeated easily? Then he jumps up in the air. He says, Isaiah, there's nothing we can do. She's way too strong. If we retreat, then we'll be known as failures. And I will not be known! Christian says, wait a minute. Then Christian pulls out a smoke bomb and throws it to the ground, going, he whispers to Isaiah, Isaiah, there's a way we can fuse together, and then our powers will be combined, then we'll be multiple times stronger than her, because of the boost of our rivalry, the boost of our friendship, and the boost of us being brothers, and all kinds of other boosts. Maybe if we fuse, it'll work. Isaiah says, how will we do that? He says, I know a secret tactic, alright? Then he whispers the tactic to Isaiah, and then they get it. When the smoke disappears, she hears words. She says, ice and they both create ice and fireballs, combining them. Christian says, they both say, ice and fire, ice and fire, ice and fire fusion! They both get sucked into the orbs, which turn into a rainbow, and then they both pop out. Then they pop out into one person. Kaizea. No, Kaizea. It's Jin. Jin. We're gonna call him Kai. He said. Then he goes, ah! She says, who the hell are you? Kai says, I'm Kai, the fusion of Isaiah and Christian. Yeah! Powering up, and the ground crushes from below, and they go, yeah! Then he cracks his knuckles, going, near, 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 near. He says, let's go. And then they already have a fire. Then when they clash, Kai is easily winning, going, then they have an explosive battle with them actually being able to fly. Them going, and their hair actually being black, just a normal black color. They go, Christian said, then Kai goes, ah! Then half his hair turns blue and the other half turns red. He said, then a blue aura on one side and a red aura on the other. He goes, fire! He says, this is true power! Then rushes at her with a punch, going, boom! Then he throws it. Then he throws his shuriken-formed ice things. Then he shoots fire blasts, going, brrr. Kai is insanely strong right now. She doesn't even stand a chance. But then their father steps in and says, stop! But then his arm gets broken in the process. Kai goes, Grr! He says, do you think your mother would be proud of this? She says, he creates an ice sword. It's a ice and fire sword. One is ice and the other is fire. He says, don't you talk about my mother, you murderer! Then jumps in the air and says, double cross slash! Fire and ice style! And slices through him, going, brrr, and kills him. Then he runs up the thing and backflips, going, ah, and then says 360 no scope. Then a fire and ice blast appears on his finger, and then he shoots it, going boom, exploding her. She goes, defeating her, and she's locked up in fire and ice prison. In the fire and ice prison, Christian says, we did it, Isaiah. We actually did it. We defeated her, finally! Because then they defuse. He says, yeah, we finally defeated her! Woohoo! Kai is the best! He says, but how are we gonna get back? But then they defuse. Christian goes, that was awesome, Isaiah! He says, and then they Emma, Ray, Alex, and Robert all saw the fusion, and they say, what? And they all say in their head, what a giant ego they have! says, so guys, how do you think that was? They say, that was awesome, but you guys do have a giant ego in that form. He says, well, we're sorry that we had to, but we do have a giant ego. Yes, we do. We do have a tectonic ego. And I'm proud of it. He says, why did you think of the name Kai? Christian says, because our names don't really go together that well in a fusion name. He says, and this is a sacred technique that only Fire and Ice users can do. Fire users can't fuse into one, and Ice users can't fuse into one either. Only Fire and Ice users can. Only Ice and Fire users together can. He says, how long does this last? He says, if you're normal, then if you're just in your normal state, an hour. But if you're in that form that we're in, it's 15 minutes. It's greatly decreased. That's it for this part of the story.